I'd like to welcome you all to our next session, which is Yoga for Happiness and Healing. Today, your instructor will be Lisa Gulotta, and she is a yoga therapist. She is also a yoga teacher, a personal trainer, a cancer exercise specialist, yoga for scoliosis trainer, and a Feldenkrais authorized trainee in Santa Fe, New Mexico. She teaches yoga and movement classes online, privately, and in small person classes in her studio. She is currently studying the Feldenkrais method, and that's something new I had to learn how to say today, so I hope I said it correctly.
Perfect.
Okay. So I am now handing over the session to Lisa, and I hope you all get a great workout session today.
Thank you, Janet.
Enjoy.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. A couple of things before we start. You'll need a chair. There's my chair. And I have a blanket, yoga blanket, but a towel, like a bath towel, would be great if you don't have a yoga blanket or something small enough, just so that we may lie on the floor at the end if you choose, or if you're super tall, I'll show you how to use the blanket for under your seat so that the chair is not so low. Okay. Couple of things also to be aware of. Don't move through pain ever. Watch your breathing. And so, you know, sometimes it's when we're efforting, which I also don't want you to do, to be like, to do anything. And I don't think I'll offer any movement that will require that. But sometimes we hold breath, like we're anticipating the final push. Just let it go. There's no reason for any of that. So this is a chair yoga class. And my training in yoga therapy and Feldenkrais and restorative yoga keeps things quiet. So I'm hoping that everything we do, you can participate in some way. I will offer modifications if I feel they're necessary. And just, again, mindful. It's a mindful practice. It's deliberate, no rushing and no competing against yourself. Just be quiet with it, all right? So what I'd like for you to do is, if you don't have a chair, get one. And again, a blanket or a towel will work just fine. And I'm going to ask you to sit at the edge of your chair. So when we normally sit, we kind of do the loungy thing, which is great. I think it's wonderful when you need a rest. But for this moment, I'm going to ask that you sit with your sit bones, and you'll find them. You want to rock side to side. You'll feel those bony points right under your hips. So here's one of the reasons for this blanket. If you're super tall, and I am not, and you find that you're sitting here and you're kind of with knees up to here, putting a towel on the chair will elevate you a little bit and make you sit easier. Okay. But if you are comfortable without it, then this is what we're going to do. We're just going to sit here for a moment and find your sit bones. Take a moment to jiggle around. And then take a breath and let it go. And what I invite you to do now, I don't know if you can see this, maybe you can, but we're going to just drop our pelvis and press it back. So I'm leading with those sit bones. I'm curling them under very gently. And then I'm taking them and reaching them back to the wall behind me, the back of the chair. So you have a sense that you're scooping and everything sort of flows with it. So the upper back falls, the head drops, and then as you push your sit bones behind you, your front body opens, your chin might lift, it might not, doesn't matter. And this could be microscopic, right? It doesn't have to be so big. And notice what happens to your breath. As you fold over, everything sort of collapses in. And as you reach the sit bones back, everything opens out. Exhale now if you can as you're rounding. See if you can manage the breath this way. So the breath expels here, ha. And then inhale as you open out. And the next few times, as you begin to pass through center, which is right here as I'm about to curl the tail under, I have a center moment. You begin to feel that the core, the abdominals, the deep connections that hold you together underneath everything start to connect. And that's where I want you to see if you can find, just for fun. It's like, if you put your sit bones underneath your hips, underneath your shoulders, suddenly you get a natural bit of ab work, really is what it is, but you're not doing anything. It's just the structure of you lends itself for all those inner muscles to wrap around in and up. You get that sense of in and up. And that's really important. Our abdominals and our pelvic area and our side hips and our upper back and lower back muscles really need to sort of work together without any crazy sit-up action. We don't need to do that. So one more time, curl the sit bones under. And then as you come back and pass through center, just stay there. And notice what you feel. And then once you find it, and if you don't, it doesn't matter, take a breath in with your arms, inhale them up. And exhale them down. And if you have any shoulder injury, maybe you just come to here, right? If you have any scar tissue that doesn't like to go beyond a certain place, then maybe you just come to here. And if you want to work through some discomfort and lift all the way up, try, just don't overdo. And then bring a hand to your heart and a hand to your belly. And connect these 2 points somehow. It could be with the heat of the palms of your hand. It could be with your breath. It could just be with the touch, right? But we're connecting our heart to our power source. Couple more breaths, easy, sweet. They're not huge volume breaths. They're just inhale and exhale. And then as you exhale your next breath, just slide your hands to the sides of you, right on the lower ribs. And what I'd like for you to do now, if you can, is to breathe into your hands. So as I inhale, my hands may kind of be pressed outward. And as I exhale, they may soften in a bit. So now we're accessing the lower part of the lungs. We're accessing the core. We're keeping the breath out of the chest, the upper chest, the fight or flight, the more active breathing. And now we're just bringing it down. And as a few times after you do this, what happens if you begin to press the breath out? So inhale into your hands, the lateral breath. And as you exhale, give a little pressure down and out. And notice how the lower torso kind of knits in toward each other. This is a great way to not only work your core very gently, but also to activate your lymphatic system and your circulation system. A little exhale pressure, and it presses on the veins and the lymph and your organs and the fascia and all that good stuff inside. And build some heat, inner heat. One more time. And then what I'd like for you to do is just let it go. And all we're going to do is circle. And kind of feel like your tail is the bottom of a top. You know those little tops? Well, when I was a kid anyway, we used to do those tops. I don't know that they're that prevalent these days, but the little point is what was on the floor and everything was circling around. And feel free to lift one hip when you go to the other direction and drop them down and lift the other hip when you reach to the other side. Keep your hands on your thighs so your low back does nothing but be playful and gentle and relaxed. And if this makes you dizzy, maybe you just do it like this, right? Maybe it's more local, more quiet. And if there's any pain, don't move beyond that circumference. And then find a place to stop and go the other way. Notice my feet are wide. My knees are over my ankles. So I'm also adding some skeletal force, right? So if someone said you have to stand up, don't do it. I could stand up. If you have your feet here, it's harder on your low back and there's no way you could get up off the chair. So I like to build these poses from the ground up, even if we're sitting. Couple more revolutions. Feel free to groan if it feels good, to breathe if it feels good. Breathe anyway. Scratch your foot if it itches. Nicely done. And then slowly corkscrew back into center. And let's just take one shoulder, bring it forward, up, back, and down. So it goes forward, you lift up, pull the elbow back, drop the arm down. And if it inspires you to let the ribs be involved, then go for it. If you want to just keep it quiet, that's fine too. And as you get comfortable, you can even go bigger. And if at any point that's too much, bring it back to a really small circle. And let's try the other side. So start slow, start quiet, forward, up, back, and down. Each shoulder is going to be very different. So don't feel like it has to match what the other one did. And it feels right, you can increase the twisting, you can increase the reaching. If it begins to crackle and pop and get uncomfortable, back off. Maybe take a break and do it slowly to see where it is compared to where you started. And then we're just going to do both. And Notice how I'm using everything. I'm not being still and just trying to use the shoulders, because that keeps the movement small and keeps it effortful. If you start to add the ribs and the hips a little bit and your pelvis, this is very Feldenkrais, by the way. It's easier, it's more organic. One more time each side. And then what I'd like for you to do is grab on to the back of your chair somewhere. Grab on and just reach your heart away from the grab. So you can be here. This is a little much, I think. If your arms are really long, you can grab behind. You can grab this. You can grab the seat. Anything that allows you to suspend forward. Just open your heart. Let your chest wall stretch. You feel a nice pec pull from the sternum. You may feel it a little in your armpits. Be careful if you have any scar tissue there. Or if it feels good, then move into it. Couple more breaths. Feel the breath coming up the front of the spine, going back down the back of the spine, kind of like a big circle. And then as you release, you're going to take one hand on your thigh. This is my support. Other hand down. So if you take both hands away, there's a minute where your low back is on its own. You don't even need, it doesn't need to be on its own because you have the steps to not let it be. And then we're going to change the undulation a little bit. So it's kind of like you're reaching forward with your chest, then the head drops, and then the chest pulls back and the head lifts. So it's, in the beginning, we did this from the pelvis. Now we're doing it from the upper body, the upper torso. So inhale, try this. Inhale as you come up, and exhale as you go down. And let the breath move you. I was going a little fast there. So have your breath be the inspiration for the lift, and your breath be the inspiration for the fold. And one more time. And this time, when you come down, can you put your elbows, forearms on your thighs? So you may notice here that I'm not rounded. This is rounded. This is fine. There's nothing wrong with round. It's actually a really nice place to be. But what I would like, if you can find this, is to fold over your hips. So I'm hinging at that point, so my back is long, supported by my arms, and I'm pressing into my thighs and lifting up. I think I may have worn the wrong shirt today. There we go. So I am really reaching into my thighs, really reaching into my thighs, and my shoulder blades are reaching toward my tail. My heart is open, my neck is long. Few breaths here. Careful of dangling heads. Feel like your crown is coming out of your tail so that this one line, and the energy doesn't stop here, it lengthens, so it feels like you're soaring, right? Rather than being sedentary. Nicely done. One hand on a thigh, the other hand on the other thigh, and press yourself up. And guess what? Sit back and let it go. You can slouch, you can lengthen, you can stretch. If you have a really high back chair, you can just adjust where your arms are. You can just sit quietly and do whatever you want, just for 10 seconds. Let's just let it be for a moment and feel what you feel. Did you overdo? Is your breath too rapid? If so, bring it down. Next round, don't go so far, so deep. Do you feel good? Do you need to maybe take a 5-minute break? Let all of that self-awareness come to the surface so you can decide for in the next few moments how much you want to participate. So we're going to stay in this slouchy place because it's fun and it feels good. And I'd like for you to bring a knee up. Any knee, doesn't matter. And my hands are really, their fingers are interlaced and they're glued to my shin, right? So the leg is completely relaxed. The only way it's going to move is when I lengthen my elbows and when I bend them. My foot is just dangling there. This is just a hip joint massage. So I have a thought, and I'm going to get up in a minute and show you what my thought is. But if you're having a hard time grabbing your leg, and I so understand that, I have really long arms. So I could grab my leg if it was a foot away, but people have shorter arms, and this is not as easy. Stay with me. You may want, maybe not now, but at another time, to get another chair. Oops, find the seat so you don't collapse on the floor. And put your leg up here and just be here. Maybe this is where you are, right? You can even extend this leg out if you want to. And just let this leg so that the glute and the leg get some length. You can just be your arms here. You don't need to lift and lower. This is plenty, then enjoy that, right? There's always a way. And then hold the knee up or put the foot on your chair and just teeny weeny itty bitty circles in the hip joint. Don't overdo. So it looks like this from the front, right? And then go the other way. Very tiny. I'm going a little big so you can see, but I would say do less than this. And then release. And just sit for a moment and feel the difference in your legs. And then bring the other one up. Interlace your fingers, glue them to your shin. And again, this leg may not like this. You may want to bring a chair to put it under the foot, or this leg may love it and take the chair away. It's all good. Whatever works for your body in this moment. I'm just going to lift and lower. Exhale, bend the knees. Inhale, lengthen the arm. Actually, exhale, bend the elbows. That's what I meant to say. Inhale, lengthen the elbows. Notice the difference in the quality of the movement of this hip joint. It may be very different than the other one. It may want to go further or less. It's all good. Let it be its own personality. And then bring it up in tiny little circles. And notice where the edges are in this leg, this hip. Maybe different than the other one. And go the other direction. Nice. I think we did the other leg much longer because I got the chair over here. So let's just lift and lower 3 more times to give it its due. And then let it go. And just sit back and rest for a moment. Just notice how you're feeling. I hope you're feeling good. I hope you're feeling a little energized, a little warm. So the first leg, pick it up and circle the ankle. Now, if picking it up is hard, again, you can get your chair and just put the foot on the chair and circle the ankle. Right? You can also just have the foot on the floor and circle the ankle. You just get less. Well, not really. It's actually just as fine. So you decide where's the best place for you to be to circle the ankle, and the other direction. And then flex and point. Looks like this, toes to knee, toes away from the knee. And see if you can use the whole leg to do this. So it's not just in the ankle, but when I'm lifting my toes, I feel the whole shin working. When I'm pointing the toes, I feel the whole shin working in a different direction. The calf muscle shortens as I lengthens as I flex. The calf muscle shortens when I point. So the whole leg is active. Nice. Good. And release. Let's do the other side. So again, this leg may be different. Maybe it wants to be on the floor. You're going to circle the ankle. You can sit up. You can lean back. Maybe it's on the other chair or a piece of a couch or a coffee table. Or maybe you like this. Mine is cracking and popping. Grateful for the space. And go the other direction. And then flex and point. Toes to knee, toes away. Nicely done. 4 more. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Nice. And then come back to your sit bones. Remember those from the very beginning? And give yourself a wider stance. So now we're letting the inner thighs lengthen a little bit, knees over ankles. So if you sit like this, notice how these big bones kind of pull my pelvis and my back in a funky way. This is a more pain-free way to live in this moment, right? And again, I'm using the floor, the skeleton, the ankle to the knee for my support rather than the toes kind of reaching somewhere out in the distance. Now we're going to play a little bit with side bending, with some lateral movement. And we're all different sided. Our spines may be straight, maybe crooked, maybe twisted. I have a curvature in my spine, so every side I go to feels very different, has a different amount of reach, bend, angle. Quality is different, so just let it be what it is. And see if you can find this sort of undulation. I'm leading with the ribs, and then the head drops. And then reaching with the ribs, and then the head drops. And if it feels right, you can add an arm now. And now the ribs sort of do something different. Now you're just reaching. They don't undulate as much. They just sort of bend. Yeah. Do whatever you want with the arm that's not working. You can put it on your thigh. If you don't have that much side bend, then put your hand on the thigh so that you stop the bend at the right time for you. Just breathe side to side. One more each side. And you're going to stay on this side, whatever side you're on, you're going to stay here. And what I'd like for you to do is put your hand on your head so that your shoulder is supported. And lift your elbow to the ceiling. So the whole side of you, your armpit, your ribs, the top of the hip, a nice long stretch. If you can, remember your sit bone, you can drop it down and reach away from it. Or if that doesn't feel good, then lift it off the chair. Breathe into your side ribs, breathe into your armpit. This is a place that a lot of things connect, a lot of lymph as well, a lot of tendons and ligaments and muscles. So send some breath to that area. And if it feels right, only if it feels right, can you remember cursive? Write your name on the ceiling with the flower as flowery as you can. And if you have a really short name like Ty, then write it 3 or 4 times. And then gently release. Oh. Just sit for a moment and let this side talk to you. Notice the difference in sides, notice your breath. And when things settle down, just gently lean to the other side, support with your shoulder. Your forearm. Don't let the shoulder, by the way, come to your ear. Press down to keep the space. There you go. Yeah. So this would be look like if I'm collapsing, right? I'm kind of folding toward my knee, but if I press into my arm, I can open my heart and my front body in the same direction as my pelvis. That's sort of the idea. There you go. And breathe. Breathe into this side. Very different experience. And of course, if anything really hurts, you can fold the arm towards your nose, right? And back off on the reach of the armpit. You can make this work for you. You can also come to here. You can also just lean to the side, drop your arm and breathe. Breathe into the armpit, the tricep, ribs. This hand can hold your head, or it can just be placed on top if your head and neck is tender or tired. And then find a way. This is for me, this is my left side. It looks like it's my right to you, but it's my left side. So I'm going to write my name in cursive backwards on the ceiling. See if you can write your name on the ceiling with your elbow. And then gently release. And just sit for a moment. Feel this side. Nicely done. And then bring your toes in and your heels in and your toes in. And sit back and just take a break. You can do whatever you want. You can sit any way you want. You can even cross your thighs if it feels right to you. Find your happy place for about 5 breaths. So this next exercise, you can choose. You can sit up tall. So if you feel that your low back likes sitting like this and you can activate the legs from here, then you can do that. Otherwise, don't worry about it. Just lift, and this is easier. Leaning back is easier. It's less, it kind of leaves the back alone. So if you're struggling sitting up, don't struggle. If you immediately lift a knee and you think, oh, that's too much work, then let it go. Okay, so you decide. Easy stuff here. Hands on the waist, hands on the chair. Easy in terms of the pattern. It may not be easy to do, but the pattern is not complicated. All we're going to do is lift a knee, lift a thigh, extend the leg, lift the knee and put it down. Same side. Lift, extend, and lift and down. Here's where my personal trainer part comes in. Important to keep our big muscles strong. And if this is really rough, then just lift it a little bit, slide the heel away, lift a little bit and put it down. I have just a teeny lift, drop my heel, slide it away, slide my heel back, lift it up and put it down. Okay, 4 more. And if you're sitting up and you're getting tired and you're using your back too much, then sit back for the last 3. Funny, I find this harder. Everybody's different, right? And let it go. And just feel the difference in your legs. Maybe bounce your heels. Maybe shake out your lymph a little bit here. And then coming back to where you started, sitting up or sitting back, and start the other leg. Easy peasy. Lift up, extend, lift up and down. Up, extend, up and down. Remember, you can just lift a minute amount, slide the heel on the floor away, slide the heel back, lift it up, and put it down. Many options. And if this side decides that it's tired and you want to change, then go back. Four more. Last time. Nicely done. And then just sit for a moment, close your eyes. And then open your eyes slowly and come to the edge of your chair once again with not a parallel and not a wide, but kind of a medium stance, a little wider than hip width. And now we're going to work a little bit on rotation, right? So we've done up and down, we've done flexing and extending, and we've done worked in this plane. We've worked in this plane, and now we're going to do a little bit of twisting. So I'm keeping my hands on my thighs and I'm reaching the fingers away as I'm pulling the other heel of the hand back into the crease of my legs. And I'm taking my focus over the shoulder that's coming forward. So this allows you to really monitor the depth of your twist. Don't overdo. And take your pelvis with you, right? You don't need to just do the back. The low back doesn't twist really well, but if you take the pelvis a little bit with you, then it's a less effortful way to move, and it gets more of your body involved. And then hold it to one side. Hold it to one side. And just breathe. It's like a little attitude here. There's a little heart, chest forward, looking over your shoulder like you're eyeing something far away with a little attitude. And breathe. And then gently release and come to the other side. Hold it there, look over your shoulder. Nicely done. And then let it go. And let's come back to our circles. So we're sort of letting things deflate a little bit for a few moments. Easy, easy, easy. And then find a place to pause, go in the other direction. And then sit up or either back, sit up or back. So you have a choice, and just close your eyes for a moment. And take some breaths. Notice how you feel. Notice if your breath has changed. Okay, so gently open your eyes. And if you're able, I'm going to ask you to stand up and come to the back of your chair. We're going to hold on. And if this doesn't work for you, then I have another option. But I'm going to teach this first, okay? And essentially, we're going to bring the right foot forward. The lighting in here is kind of funky this morning. And send the left heel back. There we go. Right? Now, you don't have to be too far away. But I do want your heel grounded. So if you're tempted to be here, if that feels good for you, you're welcome to do that. But I really would like you to have a sense of feeling the floor beneath you. And so your Achilles and the back of your calf gets some length. So notice the position. My front knee is over the ankle. I'm not like this, and I'm not like this. I am able to actually bring myself back to standing because my front knee is over my ankle. It's also healthy for the knee. And I just want you to find the floor, and you're going to lift and lower the heel. And you're really going to do it from pushing into the first 3 toes and putting it back down. Lift and lower. So my upper body just moves with the lift of my heel. And if this doesn't work for you, then we're just going to lift and lower here, right? You can do the feet together or one at a time. You decide. Okay? Whatever you're doing in any way, just keep it going. So the first 3 toes are your propulsion digits. The last 2 are sort of your balance. They're kind of like if they're there to keep you standing. So if you push into them, it moves your alignment a little funky. So push into the first 3 toes. You can even look back and notice how your foot stays in its lane. That way, if you open out to the side like this, It's really hard on your outer knee and your hip. So push through the first 3 toes. And the next time the heel is down, you're just going to leave it there. So my left leg is back. Yeah. I'm going to bring my right arm up. You can't really see it. There it is. Whee, there's my hand waving. So I'm reaching the right fingers away from the left heel. So I'm in this sort of pattern, my hand on the chair. Never letting go. And if you're on the chair and you have your heels lifted or down, you just raise your arms up. Not out, because that's too much of a load without holding on to something. So up, okay? And then bring the hand down, bring the back foot forward. Just stand for a moment. Other thing I would suggest, I just thought of it, make sure that this chair is stable, that it's not like on really slippery saltillo tile if you're in New Mexico or wherever you might live. So if it's got some sort of slickness underneath it, maybe move it to a wall so that it doesn't slip out from underneath you. Other side. So back heel is in the ground. Really feel that grounding. And as you reach into it and lift away from it, you feel the whole length of your body. Front knee is over the front ankle, shoulders are down, not hiked up, right? And when you're ready, reaching, so you're going to press into the first 3 toes, lift the heel, and then bring it down. Keep your breath fluid. Hold it. If you get tired, sit down and lift and lower your heels together. First 3 toes. You might want to look back and see what they're doing. I roll in or out on one foot. I always have to check. 4 more. Front knee over ankle. That reflection is from a skylight above, so it keeps moving. That's why I hold it down. As the sun moves, the reflection moves. And lift your heel into the ground. Reach your heel into the ground. How about that for English? Not lift it into the ground. Reach it into the ground. So if your right heel is grounding, your left arm is reaching. So you get a sort of a diagonal thing happening here, right? It's kind of a nice connection. Fingertip to heel. So you get this line, because as we walk, right, we have a gait. So if the left leg is coming forward, the right arm is coming forward. So this is sort of a brain reset. Right here, 2 breaths. And then let the arm go. So bend the back knee, bring the foot up and just stand for a moment. Or sit if you're sitting. Okay, I'm going to offer something that if it doesn't feel right, I'm going to show you how to do it seated. Okay, but it's an option I'd like to offer. So just watch for a second so that you can decide. Keeping hands on the chair back all the time. You're never free. You're going to walk back to a place that's comfortable. Bend your knees and reach your tail away. And then come forward. Bring the hands to the back of the chair, front of the chair, on the back, and press in and lift your heart. And then slide your hands so that they're on the back of the chair. Come back as far as you feel right. Reach your knees away from your fingertips, lengthen your spine, and come back. It's a back and forth thing. On your own time, open your heart, lift. Now, if standing up is not something you've been doing, you can come back to this and do it a little deeper and slower. Or you can get your chair if you've been using one and just come to here and just stay here and open your heart and reach the crown of your head away from your tail, right? So you get that line. And if you feel like it, you can round a little bit here and lengthen a bit here. There's always options, right? I'm going to go back to this. And whatever you're doing, another 4 times, 2 in each direction, or just hold it still for another 4 counts, 4 breaths. And then you're going to end this section with either standing quietly or sitting quietly. And if you can close, if you're standing, if you can close your eyes without losing your balance, go do that. If you do lose your balance, please keep your eyes open. Or come to a seat and close your eyes, just to sort of go in for a moment and check in with yourself. Notice your breath, notice your shoulder blades. Maybe they've softened and dropped a little bit. And then everybody take a seat. I'm going to come close. I'm going to do one thing with the head and neck. I'm just going to do one fun thing, okay? So what I'd like for you to do is turn your head to the left, but only as far as you feel that immediate tug. So don't crank it, right? You're just turning really slowly, and you can even sense the skin. The minute the skin tightens, you stop. So this morning, this is as far as I can go. And notice what you see. I feel a little tug here, so I'm just going to stop. I'm done. And then back. And then you're going to take your left hand. I can't do this because of the earbuds, but you're going to, well, I'll show you on one side. You're really going to massage your ear. Massage it, massage it. It's cartilage. It shouldn't hurt. I hope it doesn't. And give it, take another few moments to really get in there. Twist it, pull it, tug it. And then when you've done that for enough time, you're going to go to this hand with your left hand with your right hand. And I'm literally just squishing out. If you have any arthritis, you don't want to pull your joints, right? You just want to, and then you're going to go to each finger, a little gentle massage, squeeze 2 or 3 times up and down. I'm now on my ring finger, so you can go with me so we're on the same timing. Now I'm on the pinky. And then let it go. Now turn your head to the left and see what happens. And notice what you see now. Kind of cool, huh? Much easier on the neck. Let's do the other side. So start with your right ear. You're just going to crunch it. Get in there. Twist it, pull it, tug it, pull it nicely with love. Squeeze it, maybe. And I didn't even do this one very long, and I felt a difference. There's a muscular fascial line between the ear and the fingers, and it passes around through the neck and area, and it releases it. You may want to do this once or twice a day if you have really tight neck issues. Okay, and then come down to that hand and start with your thumb. And give it a squeeze, give it a wriggle, give it a shake, careful of bones. And then index finger. Oh, we didn't look that direction. Oh, okay, pretend. Silly me. Yeah. If I don't have people in front of me, sometimes I skip steps because I usually take cues off of the audience. Sorry about that, but that's okay. You'll still feel the release. I'm now on the pinky. And let it go. And then turn to the right. And back. Nicely done. So you have a choice. We are going to, class ends in about 12 minutes. So I'd like to do about a 5-minute Shavasana rest and then answer any questions you may have. Wow, look at that. I stand in front of the recept and it's lighter there. I go in back and it gets darker. Wow, that's something to think about. Okay. If you don't want to go to the ground, you're going to sit with your feet on your folded towel so that your knees are higher and you can sit really comfortably. Yeah. If you want to go to the ground and you feel like you can get up easily, you're going to, if you have a folding chair, you're going to turn it around. If you have another chair with a back, obviously you can't. And you're going to put this under your head. Come to the ground gently and slide your feet. Oh, oh yeah. And the reason I turned the chair around, because it's a folding chair, is you notice how the back of the seat dips. So this way, when you put your legs through, the calves are supported. The other way, it's lifted. It goes against you going on the ground. And you're going to lie with your palms up, about 45 degrees away from you, head only on your blanket. Make sure it's lifted. You can even double fold your towel or your blanket so that your head is a little higher. It releases in your hip joints that way. And if you're sitting, and you feel like you're still not comfortable, then really fold your blanket higher so that your knees are higher than they were. You can make adjustments. You can even put books under your feet. And when you get to wherever you're going, seated or on your back, just take a few moments to let gravity take over. Let yourself release into whatever surface you're on. Your back on the floor, your legs on the chair, you're behind on the seat, your back against the back of the chair. What I'd like to do is a very quick breath work moment, pranayama it's called. You're going to inhale through your nose and exhale through pursed lips. And as you do this, you notice that your breath lengthens on the exhale with the lips pursed. This is sometimes called beak breath or straw breath. but it's a down-regulating breath. It brings you up from anxiety to calm. And that's, of course, a very generalized statement, but it's a very relaxing, soothing breath. And if this creates any anxiety or it doesn't feel right, then don't do it. It's just a suggestion. Do it 2 or 3 more times and then let the breath go and just be. I'm going to give you another choice now. You can stay here for the duration of the class. We have about 6 or 7 minutes left. However, if you'd like to ask a question before you do, slowly, if you're sitting, just open your eyes and soft gaze and let the world come back. Or if you're lying on the ground, you come knees to chest and roll to your side and stay there for a few breaths. And then sit up. Take your time, whatever you're doing. Or just lie here, sit here until the class is over, listen to the questions and the answers. And that's fine too. And if nobody has anything to say, then we're just going to sit here together for another 5 minutes. Sometimes rest is best. Just make your choice. I would remind you that any form of movement, be it tiny or huge, or with music or with silence, is so important. Movement is life. It keeps your lungs supple and your feet grounded. It's also for mood. Oh, we got one.
Do you have a video of this exercise to do every day? I know we're able to do the exercise now, but I can't remember all the exercise.
Yeah, if you go, and I'm sure you can get this from Janet, and you can always email me. I have a website with 42 videos on it. And they're $6 to rent for 48 hours. LisaGulotta.com, and I'm sure Janet can get that to you. Or you can Lisa Gulotta Gmail, and you can email me. But I have a whole range. I've got fitness, I've got yoga. Oh, there it is. See? And I have pretty decent descriptions of everything. And you can always email me and ask me what might be a good video. But that way you get the range, because there's stuff on the floor, there's stuff standing. Some is really gentle, some is more effortful. And I also teach online. So if you want to join any of my online classes, I will give you that information. You can email me and I'll send you my schedule. Tomorrow morning, I'm teaching a gentle yoga class from here on Zoom. 9 o'clock Mountain Time. Are we Mountain? Yes, we're Mountain. Thank you for asking, Desiree. I appreciate that. Should I eat before or after? Good question. I eat about an hour and a half before class. And I'm an eater. I love to eat. So I don't deny myself. I need the energy. Oh, Dina, you were here last year. How cool. Nice to sort of see you again. Thank you for coming again. Thank you,
Okay.
everyone. Appreciate all of you joining. It's a nice big group this morning.